Iran. A brief history of Iran. Previously a monarchy and a dynastic rule-controlled political life, monarchical tradition ended in 1979 with the Islamic Republic and the drafting of a new constitution. The new constitution sought to Islamize the state with the ideas of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, who was the leader of the revolution. His main idea was to have a supreme religious leader and created multiple ill-defined centers of power. These included an elected parliament, the Mahil, and a council of guardians who could certify candidates for election, interpret the constitution, and veto any legislation by the Mahil if they believed it did not follow Islam. 20th century Iran. The British Foreign Secretary Nathaniel Curzon and his minister in Iran, Percy Cox, sought to translate the perception into reality through the Anglo-Persian Agreement of 1919. The Iran was important to Britain because of the Persian Gulf and Iranian oil. It stated that Britain would respect absolutely the independence and integrity of Persia, yet said that Britain, with Iran footing the bill, would supply whatever expert advisors that were needed for the administration of the country, provide the officers and supplies needed to create a credible Iranian army, assist in providing trade and communications through the construction of railroads and other projects, and set up a joint committee to revise the tariff system. On September 22, 1980, Iraqi forces bombed Iranian airfields and invaded Iran along the border. This was the beginning of a war that would last almost 8 years. The spread of the Islamic Revolution throughout the world was preserved in the preamble of the Iranian Constitution, and Saddam Hussein was worried that Iran would export its revolution by stirring up trouble with the Iraq Shiite population. The UN Security Council called for a ceasefire on September 28th, but Iran rejected. On October 13th, Khomeini confirmed Bani Sadr as the head of the Supreme Defense Council. Saddam Hussein stepped up propaganda for the war, describing it as a liberation of Arab territory that would first step toward reclaiming Palestine. 21st century Iran. The election of President Obama at the end of 2008 created a new problem for the ruling group in Iran. Mousavi won and the election with 85% of the vote. The distribution of votes for each candidate, when the final results came out, showed a consistency in those dominated by religious and ethnic minorities. Over the following weeks, rumors began that may go some way to explain how the election turned out as it had. Citizens protested Mousavi's presidency. Today, the democratically elected president is Hassan Rouhani, and the divine leader is Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who controls the military, the judiciary, and the state of broadcasting services. Iran faces international criticism today for not following the requirements of the United Nations.
Iran has some of the largest oil reserves in the world, as you can see by the graph. In fact, Iran's government is relying on the oil profits to function. Most of Iran's oil fields were discovered prior to 1965. This means that although they produce a huge amount of oil, Iran will need to introduce enhanced oil recovery techniques to continue producing at large rates for an extended amount of time. Iranian oil fields mainly produce crude oil called Iran Heavy and Iran Light. They have an API gravity ranging from 29 to 36. This makes them medium crude oils, for which is the most common type of crude oil. National Iranian Oil Company controls all of the production phase as of now, but talks have been effective in letting international oil companies be involved in all three phases of exploration, development, and production. Iran certainly has a large amount of oil, but without proper management and with war and civil unrest, it makes Iran's future oil production unpredictable. As far as natural gas production goes, Iran is the second largest proved reserve holder of natural gas, third largest dry natural gas producer, and largest gas flaring country since 2013, which is the burning off of natural gas. Production includes dry natural gas, liquid hydrocarbons, and regular natural gas, which is still increasing in production today. Below is South Pars, Iran's largest gas field located in the middle of the Persian Gulf. It accounts for nearly 40% of Iran's natural gas production and costs around $100 billion to make.
Iran's exports. Major exports include crude petroleum, iron ore, ethylene polymers, refined petroleum, acylic alcohols. The major importers of Iranian oil are China, India, and Japan. Iran's imports. Major imports: non-electrical machinery, iron and steel, chemical and related products, transport vehicles, electrical machinery, and tools. The major partners of Iran are United Arab Emirates, China, South Korea, Turkey, and Germany.